Welcome back to La Seu d'Urgell in the Spanish Pyrenees to the final of the 2022 ICF Canoe Slalom World Cup. We've raced the 5-race series in the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovenia and France. And now here in Spain for the final, it is double points. 250 athletes from over 35 countries are battling it out for the World Cup glory. We're at this venue on the River Segre, built for the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, and it's staged a big race every year since then in the foothills of the Pyrenees under the Caddy Mountain. Perfect conditions today, very calm. The sun is shining, it's supposed to be very hot later on, but here we are in for the women's and men's canoe semi-final. It's the top 30 athletes from the heats racing in reverse order of the heats performance. And they're racing for place in the 10-boat final. And all that stands in the way is the 25-gate course, set by our course designers, Irati Goikchea and Andre Voice. I'm Andy Baddock, and alongside me is Sophie Ogilvie from the British team. Welcome, Sophie.
Morning, thanks for having us.
Well, this is going to be an exciting women's canoe semi-final. 30 boats racing for just 10 spots. And here is the start list. And it's, well, some big names in the start list. And of course, in terms of the overall standings, then Mallory Franklin, pole position for the overall title, but nothing is taken for granted. Got some, here we are, Jessica Fox, who's had a really mixed season in this women's canoe category. Found some form. She was on the podium for the first time this season last weekend in Po, and she was fastest in the heat. She goes off last in this semi-final. Any thoughts, Sophie? Who do you think is going to be the fastest in this semi-final?
It's hard to say. There's many good girls out there racing today. It's a tough course, and I think all the girls are race smart today and race smart in the semi. And it's anyone's game to be in that top 10 to really fight out for that World Cup standings. But I think you've got your favourites like Jess and Mal and Tereza that will put down really good runs to show their dominance again.
Well, we're racing now, so underway with our first competitor, and it is Minzhen Liu of the People's Republic of China, who finished 24th at the World Championships, and she gets us underway on this, what was, I would describe as quite a tricky technical 25-gate course. Yeah,
it's a tough course. Going to be a lot of decisions made for spins or forward for these girls, and it's picking when's the right time to switch and be on the right line. So it's going to be a hard one to put clean runs down, but if you've got that clean run and boat moving forward, you're going to have a good run.
6 red and white upstream gates, the rest the green and white downstream gates. So if you're new to the sport of canoe slalom, fast and clean is the name of the game. It is all about negotiating the 25 gates in number order in the fastest possible time, but you must stay off the poles. Touching a pole with any part of your body, boat or your paddle, 2 seconds of penalty is added to your time. And you miss a gate, well, it's game over at this stage of the competition. And speaking of that, whoa, big mistake going into the middle section. And it looks like, unfortunately, our paddler, hopefully they'll be out of the boat very shortly. Yep, safely out of the boat, but it's all over for Minzhen Liu of the People's Republic of China. And it just looked like as she was switching the blade, she caught an edge.
Yeah, it looked like she caught her edge down the drop, and then it looked like she might have lost her paddle as she fell in as well. It's never nice to see that happening. Hope she's okay.
Well, looked like it took a little bit of time to get out of the boat, but yeah, she looks okay. And it's always a reminder, I think, of we're watching the best in the world, and you all make it look easy, but the power of the white water, even on a course that's a bit smaller like here, you can soon see how it takes control if you let it.
Yeah, like one thing can go wrong and it can just like snowball from there and end up not where you want to be.
Well, straight into our second competitor now from Canada. Lois Betterridge gets her campaign underway through this tricky S move and just making contact with the wall. No penalty for hitting the wall, but clearly just takes the pace off and penalises you on the clock. So this spin here on gate 5 into 6, it's a critical move, and you want to ride the wave on the face of the wave into 6.
Yeah, you want to try and get that spin done just before the gate as you're coming down, so you can catch that wave. But I think you'll see people trying to do it slightly above it, and people maybe swimming just below it and using maybe the bottom wave to ride up into the up as well.
Well, coming down now the corner section, this is about the only chance that you really get a chance to resettle if you've made a mistake at the top. But there, another penalty picked up by Lois as she comes into this busy section. So it's all about keeping ahead of the game here, ready for this critical double upstream sequence.
Yeah, she just wants to keep the boat running now, try and get back on track, be on top of the water, forget about what's happened at the top and just carry on.
Oh, beautifully done, 13 to 14. But this is where everyone was struggling yesterday. What do you think people will do? There's a lot of learning from yesterday. Do you think people will spin 15?
I think there'll be some spins, but I think even with the spin it comes with a lot of slides, so I think you're just going to have to go with what, as a paddler, what you feel comfortable doing, and then really committing to that on your race.
Well, it's good to get a bit of insight there from paddlers, because this semi-final, there's a little bit of a tactical game going on as well, isn't it? It's about balancing the risk to make sure you're in the final, and then you maybe put the risk up a notch or two. Yeah,
for me, if I was racing that, that would definitely be one of the way I'd be looking at this, just trying to go out there and deliver a really good solid semis run with like speed on the boat, and then really opening it up for the final if that was an option.
So Lois Betterridge puts in a solid run, but look at that, there's 12 seconds of penalties on her time, and unfortunately can't compete for a place in the final with that kind of level of penalties. So we'll have to wait and see the early stages of this women's canoe semi-final here. We're live from Laseo in Spain, and well, there's an interesting move on the top. The peel out option 5 to 6, and looks smooth, not the fastest line, but pretty good for Laura Pelisa Chica of Andorra. Is that a bit of local knowledge coming in? Maybe, yeah. Maybe not as slow as you think, or that avoids the touch, or being low in the up and keeps the boat running might be a good option. And some of the girls might be looking at that on the banks now and thinking that might be an option if they're unsure what to do. Of course, we saw Andorra win a medal yesterday. Monica Doria Villarubla took a medal in the kayak event. She'll be racing in this canoe event later on in the semi-final. And it's a solid run coming together here. Yeah, she's looking good. The boat's running really smoothly. Definitely knows like she knows the lines to take. So, well, the local goes for the spin. She looked actually like she got out enough to do it forwards, but it's not a given, is it? No, like she's got a wee bit stuck, so maybe just thought we'd quickly spin and that'll just keep the boat running. Well, look at that. She's certainly starting to set the pace, but of course she's not really racing Lois Betterridge, who's already finished. She's racing those still to come. She'll be hungry for a place in the World Cup final. Double points here on her home course. Yeah, Andorra just literally a couple of miles up the road. Down the bottom here, this Niagara drop, 22 to 23. It's not an easy move, that spin, is it? No, it's set really awkwardly. There's not much of a wave to take off the spin as well, so you really want to get that bow down and across to get back over to that up. And you can see she lost time at the bottom, so she had a 9 and a bit second advantage in the middle, but that was squandered away. But still, our new leader for Andorra. In the early stages, as we watched Noemie Fox of Australia, now you'd expect Noemie to be setting a little bit of the pace, and she surely will be a contestant in the final. Yeah, definitely. I think this could be a run for the other girls to go off. She's been on good form this year, making like the World's final and putting like really good runs down there, so it'll be exciting to see what she can do here. So she's found time at the top. So that's solid. You can't win the race on the top, but you can certainly lose it now. This double upstream 13 and 14, and in particular 15-16. If you can get through here clean, then you're pretty much, well, you're not home and dry because you've still got a few more gates to negotiate. But another spin being done, but it's a really tidy move from Noemie as she now opens up into the bottom section. Yeah, looking really smooth. Hope she can keep this together. Well, Noemie, so far in terms of the World Cup, has only actually had one final, which is very strange based on the rest of her season. Back-to-back World Championship finals in 2021 and 2022. So another final, particularly with double points up for grabs, will be very helpful indeed.
She's done that very nice at the bottom there, keeping the boat running really smoothly.
That's silky smooth, exits at 23. Surely we're looking at a new race lead time. She has taken a touch on gate 24. Easily done at the end when the arms are tired. And now stops the clock, 113.34. And well and truly into first place. Well done. So 113, do you think that's enough for the final? It's still early days, but looks a competitive time.
Yeah, it's hard to say what times have we gone down. I think that could definitely be a final time. Wonder if one of our touches might just keep her out.
Well, only time will tell as we watch Nele Bayn of Germany now. Touch on gate 4. Bows flicking up, and she'll be focused on the gate still to come. Great view there of her switching as she comes into 6.
Yeah, looking good.
So she was a European Championship finalist earlier on this season. Hasn't yet made a World Cup final. But, well, this is the opportunity. And how important is it going into the last big race of the season, going into your winter training to get a good result?
I think it's nice, it just sets you up, has you a bit of confidence in the bank going into the following year. Like next year being such a big year as well for most people going into the Paris. So that can like get the confidence driving into selection for next year. I think that would really help people.
Well, she didn't quite get the use of the punt off the wall on gate 14. Now she's got very little boat speed. She's vulnerable here, and you can see she's having to work very hard. She does well to stay clean through there.
Yeah, it was very good getting under that pole and not touching it.
So one thing's for sure in canoe slalom, as soon as you take off any boat speed, then that's when the water takes control.
Yeah, here it's really hard as well. The water's not moving very fast, so if you kill your boat speed, you're having to work really hard again to get that boat back up and tracking again.
So now, just the bottom drop stands between her and the finish line, and it's a nice line on the spin. She's going to be tight into 22. In and out of the upstream. Oh, she's cutting the lines through 24 and 25, and she did pick up a 2-second penalty on 23. Nele Bayn of Germany. The penalties just building up. And into second place, 122.20. That includes 4 seconds of penalties. So next up for Great Britain, your compatriot, it is Ellis Miller on the top of the course.
Yeah, she'll be looking to put in a run here. Maybe not at the season she's looked for, but she's well capable here to put a run down that can push the top girls.
She was an under-23 world finalist last year. Didn't make the final this year. Well, you were in the final this year.
Yeah, it was a hard race.
A hot weekend, or a hot week in Rhea.
Yeah, it's very hot.
So now she has picked up that early penalty, but she seems to have stabilised now as she comes towards the middle section. And no dramas at the moment, but this is where it counts.
Just keep this boat running nice and smoothly on top of the water and keep the boat running.
Beautifully done.
Very nice, yeah.
She's got the speed, but she's planning the spin. She's well positioned, and she's able to get away and get on the power early on. So safely done through that section. Now this line into the upstream gate 20, we get a great overhead view here. It's so easy to come in a little bit early, isn't it? And you suddenly looking at a very narrow gate.
Yeah, and it's very slow water, and it's just very hard if you're at the bottom of the course, tired arms, trying to get that boat tracking again.
So into the spin.
Looks like she's having a good run here and keeping the boat in the right places.
Yeah, and down on the bottom section here, there's 22, 23. It's really important to keep the boat flat, isn't it? As soon as you either give it edge or stick the tail down, you get into trouble. But a late penalty, a 50-second penalty on gate 24. And it's hard to see from this angle, and it looks certainly like Ellis is not necessarily agreeing with that.
It didn't look like a 50, but like you say, from this angle, it's not hard. So that'd be, see that what the view is there, but that'd be upsetting if that gets stayed on, because it looked like a good run from Ellis.
So at the moment, that puts her in 5th place, and it will be reviewed. There is an asterisk against her name, but Viktoria Wolffhardt of Austria on course and in trouble at the top. She has to do a roll. Now, she won't pick up a 50-second penalty because she wasn't in the gate line, but it won't help her. And well, any time you roll, it's not a plan, and it's quite hard to refocus after that.
Yeah, she really needs just to get back into her planning in the moment and just forget about that. Be a big shock to the system. It's a bit cold out there in the water this morning, but I'm sure she's experienced enough now to put the run down that she knows she needs to put down.
She's a European champion from 2018, yet to make a final in this year's World Cup. But don't be deceived, because she's very capable of that. Her best results, she's had 2 finishes in 14th place. Oh, she was almost too good running into 14. She gets high and takes the touch with the bow of the boat. And another spin, so it seems that everybody's planning to do that spin on 15. It'd be interesting to see whether anyone tries to take it on forwards in the final, particularly.
I think we might even have some of the girls later on taking that forward. Maybe Mallory. I can see her that line in her strengths to try that forward, but we'll have to wait and see.
That's Mallory Franklin, who is the World Cup leader of the standings after 4 races. She has an advantage of 39 points going into this final race, but nothing's a given, particularly as there's double points up for grabs. So the job really is to make sure you are in the final, and then, well, for Mallory, that makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely.
So Viktoria, after that mistake at the top of the course, has actually put in a solid performance and is only just outside second place, and there she knows it was that mistake at the top that really hampered her progression towards the final, but she'll have to wait and see. So Fox leads ahead of Wolffhardt and Bayn in the early stages of this women's canoe semi-final here. Myself, Andy Maddock, alongside me, Sophie Ogilvie from the British team, as we now watch Emanuela Luknarova for Slovakia on course. She was an under-23 World Championship bronze medalist this season. Just having to drag the boat round after coming through that awkward water, sticky fingers as they call it.
She was getting a bit stuck there.
And she's up on the split by nearly 2 seconds, despite that little bit of an awkward moment.
Yeah, she's running the lines really tight here. The boat's really going where she wants it to go.
So here it's so important to just keep that boat speed, particularly on the exit of 14.
Yeah, you've seen her just like setting that up, being really patient there, and that's really helped her there, keeping the boat tracking through that feature into the ups, and very good there on the spin, 15, 16.
Yeah, the spin actually, well, she's been given a 2-second penalty on gate 9, but the spin actually isn't looking slow, is it?
No, not so far. I think because they can then not get so stuck in the feature that they're actually just driving across really flatly and getting the spin in a quick away, and it's actually keeping the boat running really smoothly for the next gate.
So Emanuela still in touch, but that 2-second penalty now puts her a little bit of a deficit, but still an opportunity to go into the race lead. Low into 23, but now she needs to launch it out and deliver the power through the last 2 gates.
Yeah, she can keep this for the last gate. Yeah, it's going to be a good run here.
She's going to take the race lead, I think. Just outside, half a second down. Emanuela Luknarova goes into second place. So still Noemie Fox of Australia leading the way. And Noemie was given a late penalty as well. So that includes 6 seconds of penalties. So still quite vulnerable. Remember, only 10 will progress through into the final. And next up, Lucie Baudu of France. Lucie's only made 1 final so far in the World Cup season. She's done 3 of the 4 races, a 9th and 11th, then a 30th on her home water last weekend in Po.
Yeah, she's looking very good at that top section.
You get an indication of the first split just here. She goes through gate 9. And wow, you're right, she has found time, 3 seconds up on the top. Now it's all about keeping that focus through this difficult technical middle section.
Yeah, she's a really strong paddler. You can just see that with her style out there in the water, putting the boat where she wants it and being really strong on her strokes.
Oh, she got a bit unsettled there, lost a bit of balance on the switching, but actually the wall helped her.
Yeah, I don't think she lost much time there. She can just keep this boat going and keeping it clean as well.
Good work there, and surely she's going to hold on to the advantage. It might have been trimmed a little bit, but we'll find out on gate 18. Oh, she's just squandered that. I'm not sure if the split time will include that too or not, but super tight on 20, that's not ideal either. So Baudu has a little bit of work to do on the bottom section. It's good on the spin, isn't it? She keeps the boat stable, keeps it flat, and she's well positioned to exit. If you don't have enough speed, then you can really pay a price with a touch on 24, 25, or even both.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to go on the lead. It's a good run.
And it is 2.5 seconds. And Lucie Baudu takes the race lead. And it shows that there is a pace there of around about 110 seconds. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get, I don't know, around about 102 or something like that?
Yeah, my thought was potentially anything could go down to even 100 if the right run was put down by the girls. But I think maybe a 110 or 111 might qualify into the final.
Yeah, there'll be quite a range, won't there, in terms of that. So on course now, it is Zuzana Pankova of Slovakia, who well, produced an outstanding heats performance last weekend in Po. Didn't quite replicate that in the semi-final, just missed out in 11th place. But one thing's for sure, the junior world champion is going to be fast down this course.
Yeah, she's been on form this year, very good.
She's a bit early into 13.
Dealt with that very well.
You can see she's got the pace on the boat. She doesn't always get the lines right, but she makes up for it in speed.
Yeah, boat's always moving forward very fast, very like a rapid stroke rate, so the boat's shifting. So this is a good time coming together, just half a second down on the race lead time of Lucie Baudu of France, and that includes 4 seconds of penalties. So once again, Pankova really showing her pace as she comes over the bottom drop. As a review on gate 20, at the moment there's no penalty showing, but there is potentially a penalty to go on there, but we'll have to wait and see. As Zuzana Pankova crosses the line, she's outside the race time, and that is because she got a penalty on gate 20 and has to settle for second place. But the pace is there, and that is a 107.89 plus 6. So the time's starting to come down as we now watch Viktoria Us of Ukraine setting off on her semi-final run. Yeah, just using a crossbar at the top there, very skillful, very strong. She had a good season so far, and I think this could be a really good benchmark for a run.
Yeah, her season, well, last year she was good. She made the Tokyo Olympic final. She was 7th there, 4th at the European Championships, and not just in the canoe as well, she's been strong in the kayak.
Yeah, showing her dominance, being able to double up there, that's tough on these World Cups, but she's been really good, and hopefully can put her run down today.
So she's going to be down on the split, 2.8 seconds, but we know Viktoria is good at delivering those clean runs, and if she can do that, she can get in the mix.
Yeah, I think clean will be really key at the top once we get some faster runs coming down. Maybe 1 or 2 touches might get to the final, but...
Yeah, another one planning the spin. A lot of the athletes are getting in a position where they could take it on forwards.
Yeah, it looks like that. Maybe they'll see what it feels like in the semis, and then in the final they might push on and go for that forward. So we think that's where time can be made up.
Well, look at that. She's turned a big deficit at the top into a credit in the middle. She's now up on race leader Lucie Baudu of France as she comes down towards the bottom drop. Only a quarter of a second in it, and she's good on the spin.
Yeah, very composed, putting the boat in the right place. Just hold it out for this last 2 gates and locking in. Yeah, and just getting that quick sprint to the finish. I think this is a really good one getting put down.
So now coming to the finish and into the race lead by over half a second. Viktoria Us of Ukraine takes the race lead ahead of Lucie Baudu of France and Zuzana Pankova of Slovakia. 10 down, 20 to go. They're the fastest 20 from the heats. And, well, in this women's canoe semi-final. Here in Laseu, we're now watching the next paddler on course, Alena Marx of Switzerland, and an early penalty. It's so easy, isn't it, on the top part of the course to just take an early penalty.
Yeah, you just want to really settle into it and just really like not rush off the start and just build into this run. There's so many tight crunch moves, so you just want to make sure you get through that top section and then really build into the speed of the bottom bit.
So at the split, then she's still going to be competitive. Look, despite the fact that she has picked up a penalty at the top, only one at the moment showing, although there's a review on gate 4 as well. So she's clearly got the pace as she comes into gate 13. Oh, she really has got the run of the boat, and so important. But now, this is the problem. She has to settle it down, and she delivers that well.
And once you got the boat tracking across, very good spin. The boat's just flown really nicely.
So, where has that advantage gone? It's been trimmed, but it's still there. So there's a review on gate 16, no penalty showing at the moment. And now through the upstream gate 20, this is where you set up the line, you spot the route into 22, and then you've just got to react, haven't you?
Yeah, you just got to be really aware of what the water's doing and what your bow's doing as well. You want to be on the front, but make sure you're sitting up and getting that drive across. 2
gates to go. Alena Marx of Switzerland is challenging the race lead time, and it's going to be inside. 1:12.37 the time to beat, and she's comfortably inside by nearly 1.5 seconds. Well done there. Now, Alena, there's still a review on gate 16, but provisionally into the race lead ahead of Viktoriia Us and Lucie Baudu. So Marta Bertoncelli now goes for Italy. And Marta was an under-23 World Championship finalist, 15th in Tokyo last year, and 5th at the World Championships in Augsburg, Germany. It seems such a long time ago, those World Championships.
Yeah, it does feel like a while ago. Marta has been very good this year, both kayak and canoe, but especially in her canoe, so hoping that she can come out and deliver a run. Lovely person.
Yeah. She's been in the booth a few times, and she brings a huge amount of energy into the booth. It's good to see. She's not really prioritised, understandably, the World Cup, because she's been focusing on the under-23 Worlds and under-23 Euros. So her best is 12th, the only races she's done. So she's clearly in the mix for a place in the final. And she's in touch at the top, just 0.15 of a second down. A lot of Italian support here.
Yeah, they're all very passionate, the Italians.
Beautiful day here in Laseu. A little bit chilly in the morning. You can definitely feel that autumn is just around the corner, but by mid-morning it's starting to really heat up, and it's supposed to be 30 degrees later on today. So 2 penalties now on relatively easy gates may well hamper Marta. She is still in touch. Oh, I don't know what she was doing there.
Yeah.
She almost looked like she was going to try and take it on forwards, but I'm not sure that would have been necessarily a plan.
No, I don't think so. And then just quite not getting the switch there and that upright, just losing a bit of time.
But she rescued it well, for sure. Marta Bertoncelli has picked up a 50-second penalty on gate 8, and unfortunately, that means she's down in 11th place. I didn't see that, but it's one of those relatively easy gates, but you do go under the pole, don't you?
Yeah, I think the bow just went up and just cut the line a bit tight.
Well, from one Italian to another, it is now Elena Borghi on course. Now, she is the under-23 World Champion of 2022. So has had a great season. She was 4th last weekend in Po, the only World Cup she's done. So she really is on form.
Yeah, great paddler to watch, one I really look out and watch. See what line she's taken, very strong, dynamic paddler. And been very good form this season so far.
So look at that, 1.5 seconds up on the top split. She's definitely looking like she's got some intent here as she comes into gate 13. The speed you carry into 13 is, well, it's probably one of the fastest points of the course, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just trying to control that and not have too much speed down under that bridge, but just enough to keep the boat tracking into the ups.
Nicely done through 15 and 16. Now she gets a little bit of time just to plan ahead, settle down, as she gets back into the business end, and this is where the lactic acid is screaming in now. And now that is an unplanned spin on 19 and will force her tighter into 20 than she would have liked.
I think just losing a bit of time there and a bit of the boat speed, so she's to get this boat back up and running and really think about what the next move's going to come in.
What a pity, because she's 4 seconds up on that second split, but some of that will have gone through the spin. She's still surely going to challenge our race lead time. And looking at this, Viktoria Us is still leading 1:12.37. Alena Marx has been given a second penalty, so she's down in 4th place now because Elena Borghi goes into the race lead. It's a clean run, 1:11.52.
I think she's shocked that she's gone into the lead there.
Yeah, she can't be disappointed about any penalties because she hasn't got any. But anyway, well done. Elena Borghi leading as we approach the halfway stage in this women's canoe semi-final here. Now on course, Kimberley Woods of Great Britain, two-time European champion in this event. And a little bit low in the first upstream gate 6.
Yeah, just missed out at the podium yesterday in kayak. Spoke to her, she was really happy with her performance, but just got to miss that, so I'm sure she'll be out fighting for a medal today, fighting for that final.
She was 4th at the World Championships, and she's made 2 finals so far in the 4-race World Cup Series. 6th place in both of those, but she's down on the top and has picked up a penalty.
Yeah, it's a silly one there. She just needs to look to put that behind her and just keep the boat going forward.
Well, with Kimberley, you know she's got the pace, but sometimes she can take the penalties, and she's picked up another one on 13. But look at the pace she's got through 14.
Yeah, she just needs to dig in.
Oh, she's gone for it forwards, and she's nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely pinned that. I think that'll be much quicker if the girls can do that, and maybe some of the girls will be looking at that as well, seeing how the time difference is.
Well, 7 seconds down. That's not really because of the gate 15-16 sequence, and another penalty on 20. So Kimberley Woods racking up the penalties. Look at that, 8 seconds of penalties. Without those, she'd be challenging the race lead. Beautiful spin on 22. She's found the fast water for 23, but the damage is done. 8 seconds of penalties, and Kimberley Woods is going to struggle to make a final from there. 1:15.63 into 7th place, and disappointment. But look at that, 1:07.63 is the raw time, fastest we've seen today. So next, Miren Lazkano of France sets off through that first upstream gate 2. If you nail that, you're going to really feel good.
She looked very good there. So just it's tight water there, so you can get that pin. It can be really good. Just catching her bow there on the rock. She's hoping to get the boat tracking now.
You can see she was planning to go round above the gate, but as you say, she's caught bow, and that hampered her. But at the moment, it's a solid start for the French athlete.
Yeah, looking really clean now. Just looking to get her strokes. Classic French style, very deliberate on their strokes, very strong.
And in touch, 0.29 down on Borghi of Italy, but she's going to have to spin. That's an unplanned spin on gate 11. She just lost her balance, and now she gets back into it.
Yeah, just catching her edge, and it almost looked like she hit our boat hit the bottom of the river as well, making it harder to stay flat.
And then she wasn't in contact as she ran into 13, so just losing the rhythm. She was good at the top, as you say, very deliberate lines, but now she's got to resettle. How did she keep 15 and 16 clear?
Very good.
Well, respect there, and after a little bit of just a sticky position, she's just got a moment now to resettle herself in this final part of the course.
Another one just getting drawn in tight into that gate 20 and then picking up that touch.
So the first touch on gate 20, and well, she navigated that difficult middle section in all sorts of trouble, but she didn't actually pick up any more penalties. So Miren Lazkano now through 24, through the last gate, but she is now showing 4 seconds of penalties, and that's going to be costly. Into 10th place, and unlikely to make the final from there. Remember, only 10 places in this World Cup final. Here's a big name, Ana Satila of Brazil, on course now. Ana lying in 10th place in the overall World Cup standings and can still move right up the order depending on how it all unfolds today. This semi-final then will be live here at Planet Canoe, 11:30 Central European time. You can follow that. And we'll have the women's canoe final, then the men's canoe final. And Ana Satila looking quick at the top.
Yeah, the boat's tracking really nice. Again, she's a very strong, dynamic paddler. She's looking to cut the lines tight, keep the boat tracking. Looking very good for here as well.
She's a World Championship bronze medalist, multiple Olympian, and she's had, well, a mixed season in the women's canoe category, but the last 2 World Cups she's been in the final, so starting to come into form. I know she started working with coach Torre Evaldi again for this season, and that made her very pleased. She used to work with him in the run-up to the Rio Games. 2.3 the deficit now. So that is largely because just a little bit of a sticky middle section. Now, she's smooth, she's definitely keeping the boat flat, and she's solid on this tricky little move on Niagara.
Yeah, she kept this boat running for these last few gates, and this will be another competitive time for the top.
So Ana Satila is surely going to take the race lead from here, and she does by quite a margin, 109.95. It's a clean run, and well, we know you can go faster, but no one yet who's managed to go fast has managed to do it clean. So Ana Satila, having just said that, she has been awarded a penalty on the upstream gate 13, so into 2nd place. So as we get towards being able to confirm our first finalists, Elena Borghi leads for Italy ahead of Ana Satila of Brazil and Viktoria Us of Ukraine. That's the top 3. Next up, Ainhoa Lemero of Spain on course.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is home course for her as well. So she'll be looking to put in a run here that's competitive and knowing all the tight lines.
Well, she seems to have applied that knowledge well at the top, over 2 seconds up. But we know it's the middle and the bottom which will really sort people out. Beautifully done.
Looking very smooth.
And she's really just, it's the stroke placement and using the water, isn't it? She's just almost running silky smooth across the water, but an unfortunate touch on 16.
Yeah, just knowing the exact lines to take, and it's just making her on the nice faster water and keeping the boat dry.
So she has lost the advantage, and now another penalty on 20. She just ended up too squeezed on the entry pole. So there's a bit of work to do at the bottom. So important as you go into that downstream 22 to keep the boat flat and not commit to your edge, isn't it?
Yeah, keep it flat, not almost keep your body weight quite neutral as well, so your bow doesn't bury and your tail doesn't go.
And then as soon as you feel it, then you can react.
Get the pop and pull.
So look at that, she's converted the deficit in the middle back to an advantage. Ainhoa Lemero for Spain goes into the race lead with a very quick time, 106.1. plus 4 seconds of penalties, so 110.1, the new race lead time. And we've got 12 boats to go, and another Spanish paddler on course, Klara Olazabal. She's a World Championship, a Euro Championship finalist, so very capable, particularly here on her home water, of making it into this World Cup final.
I think we'll see another quick one again by Klara.
Beautiful switch there on that tricky water through sticky fingers. I'm not sure I'd want to be taking the blade out of the water at that point.
She done very well there, just to keep the blade in the water and just commit, and she knew that she was always going to always get to that gate.
So 2 seconds down at the top, but actually, if she can keep it clean, she'll still very much be challenging for the race lead. And really, at this stage in the competition, if you can be in the race lead, you're pretty much going to be enough to make it through to the final. A little bit of boat speed lost there, and it's plan B.
Yeah, a lot of slide downstream as well.
So suddenly, just having to work hard. It's not just about keeping it clean. She's done that, but she's used up vital energy that she would have preferred to use in other parts of the course.
She needs to dig in now and try and find these smoother lines. Keeping it clean is key. Very smooth round there, but oh no. Just catching an edge out of that up there. Having to go for the roll.
Yeah, so you don't get penalised on that, but will hurt on the clock because it's just slipping away now. At the moment, still just the one touch on gate 18 showing. You can see the concentration there, yeah. 24 to 25. Klara Olazabal will be fighting for a place in the final, but it looks like it is outside. So disappointment there. It was all going so well, and then from the middle onwards, she just lost that rhythm. So 11 boats to go. Martina Satkova now for the Czech Republic on course, lying 5th in the overall World Cup standings. So a good result here can very much launch her into the top 3. But, another penalty early on the course, gate 5.
Yeah, she should put that behind her and just think about what's coming up. Very capable paddler, and to deliver a fast one as well.
Well, she's had some strong results in the season so far. She started off with 2 bronze medals, 3rd in race 1 and 2, and then not quite so consistent in races 3 and 4. But with double points up for grabs, anything can happen, and she can launch herself into the top 3. Top 3 get prize money. Always useful at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's a nice bonus. She's looking really good here. The boat's tracking really well on that section for 15, 16, very nice.
And she's closed the deficit. Just 2 seconds down. Now she's got to keep going, keep that concentration as she comes over towards the bottom drop. The sweaty arms are getting tired. The brain is telling you to take shortcuts and oh, I can find a faster line, but you've got to stick to the plan.
Again, the water's really fast in this section, really. Just fatigued in the arms, lacked it, so it's just about keeping the plan.
Ducking off 25, and this is going to be a good run. It's not quite going to take the race lead, but it's into 3rd place. Martina Satkova of the Czech Republic. Well, she looks a little bit disappointed, but I think that'll be enough to make it through into the final, and anything can happen from there. So now Lea Novak of Slovenia sets off beautifully through gate 2. And if you get that feel-good feeling at the top, it just helps you to relax into your run a little bit. It's quite difficult to say relax into your run, isn't it? Because it's pretty hard work.
Yeah, it's a tough course here and it's tough water, but it definitely makes it a bit more easy on the nerves if you can get the top section, just build into it, not feeling like you have to chase yourself in the bottom section. Yeah,
that's a good description. Sophie Ogilvie alongside me, Annie Maddock here. We're live from that was last weekend. We're live from Las Seu in the Spanish Pyrenees on the women's canoe semi-final. They'll be live again with the finals 11:30 Central European time today. Wow, she was late through 12 and suddenly this is a problem. Can she get the line into 13? She does well from that position, but she looks like she has brushed the pole on 13.
Yeah, just getting a bit stuck in her tail just above the drop and on the drop, so she's looking just to keep that boat tracking now. Sitting up. Doing well there to get back round for 16, but it looks like she might have just took a touch on the back of her board side.
So disappointment here. It's just a middle section. Hasn't worked out for her. And suddenly 15 seconds the deficit. So we're down to the last 10 boats in this women's canoe semi-final, so we will be able to confirm who our finalists are. And at the moment, Ainhoa Limero of Spain is looking very solid indeed. At the top of the leaderboard. And it looks like Spain will have a finalist in this event. So watching now, just coming down through the course, it is Lea Novak who stops the clock, 125.44, and unfortunately no final today, 16th place at the moment, with 9 boats to go. And here on course is the World Cup champion of 2021, Tereza Fiserova. And she's sitting in second place in the overall standings, so still in with a shout of defending her title, but the first job is to make sure she's in the final.
Yeah, it's a nice top section there, got the spin really good on 4 into 5. What was tracking really nice.
She finished in the top 3 in the kayak event yesterday, despite missing the final. So she won't want to miss the final today.
Yeah, she's had a really good season so far in both kayak and canoe. She's really shown dominance, really.
Yeah, her season in the World Cup, she started off with a win. Hasn't been so consistent then, 18th, 11th, 10th last weekend in Po. And now has the opportunity. Is looking very smooth and solid. She looks like she's not taking any risks.
Yeah, she's one of these paddlers that knows that she's quick enough, got the boat speed, that she knows she just needs to go out and deliver a run that's really solid and clean, and that'll definitely be good enough for the final.
So, yeah, she's still in touch, and it's not about winning the semi-final, it's about getting through into the final. And she's absolutely doing that job indeed. She won the world title World Cup title under pressure last season. She had to win the last race, and she did do that. Now, a late penalty, but I still think she's surely going to go through into an automatic place. She's got to beat 1:11.52 for an automatic place. She's comfortably inside that. In fact, she's going to take the race lead, and she does that. 1:09.74, the new time to beat. Well done, Tereza Fiserova. You're in the final. Well, if people manage to get through, the top contenders get through into the final, it will all be decided in that final run.
Yeah, could be a fight off.
So next up, Elena Lilik of Germany, the world champion of 2021. She's won 2 medals in the World Cup season so far, and she's lying 3rd in the standings. And, well, I think she would have been more dominant other than the fact that the German team withdrew from World Cup 2 because of the COVID outbreak. And that hampered her ability to score maximum points. She's really working hard, but she has picked up that penalty early on gate 2, but she's certainly got the pace to absorb that.
Yeah, you can see that there on the split.
Well, she's certainly attacking this course. She's not holding on, is she? She's not going cautious. I think this is surely going to be a quick split time on the second split, but a little bit eager on 15.
Yeah, you just need to watch your slides. If on the spin, if you like get your tail down, push your tail down too much, the water wants to take you and pulls you back before 16, and that just kind of happened to her there. But she's putting the boat back on track now and just needs to like settle down into this last crunch move. So
now Lilik of Germany. Well on track for a place in the final, but still can't take anything for granted. Keep your concentration in these last few gates. The time to beat for automatic qualification, still 1:11.52. That is the time that Elena has to do. She's really dragging the bows round on 24. Through 25, she's going to be inside the automatic qualification time, just inside, into 3rd place. So, well, at the moment this is good. Our top contenders for the World Cup title overall are progressing through. The 2nd and 3rd ranked are in the final. Now Miren Lazkano of Spain sets off. She's a European champion of 2021. She was 37th at the World Championships and yet to make a final in the World Cup season so far, but surely she'd be a favourite to make the final here.
Yeah, definitely. She'll roll the water better than anyone else.
So the closest was 11th. Always tough coming 11th, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a horrible place to be in. Just that one wee bit off, especially when it can be tight margins. It can feel pretty brutal.
So Miren now coming down to the 1st split. We'll get an indication if she's going to be up. And, well, she's in touch for sure. And it is all about getting into the final. You don't have to win this semi-final. Save that bit until the final.
Yeah, you want to save your dream run for the final. Just want to put a run down here that feels nice and feels good on the water.
This is a little bit low, but that's not a big drama here as long as she gets the boat speed on the exit. so far we've only seen Kimberley Woods of Great Britain take on this move 15 and 16 forwards. And oh, she's missed it. She's missed 16, and suddenly Lazkano of Spain, who was really in control, is up against it.
Yeah, everything could just come a bit quick there. It looked like she was in the right place and then just slid a wee bit and went the wrong side of the gate.
Look at that. So she goes from being half a second down to 9.5 seconds down. And well, that puts Elena Borghi of Italy surely into the final. The under-23 world champion. Looks like she's done enough to make it in, and it's Miren Lazkano that has now picked up another penalty at the bottom. And it's going to be disappointment here. She may even struggle 24-25. She's got very little boat speed. No, she's okay there. Lazkano, though, will be outside of the final. Only 18th place. Well, Spain will have a representative in the final, but I thought we might have more than one.
Yeah, me too. I thought there might have been a few, but water proving tough today, of course.
Well, that's the nature. It is a tough course, as Sophie says. And now on course, Gabriela Satkova goes. She was the gold medalist in Po last weekend. She has won a bronze in the 2021 World Championships. So no stranger to this kind of pressure. And now the job is to get down the course and deliver it inside the top 10. She's up on the top, and that's by quite a margin.
Yeah, looking really good. Like I say, had a really good season so far this year, Gabby. We're in top form, and she'll be looking just to deliver this one again to put her into the final and fight for that medal in the final.
She's only done 2 World Cups, but she made the final in both, and 5th and a 1st, not a bad record. She made the final at the World Championships, so a really strong competitor. And yeah, that gold medal last weekend will have given her a real boost and momentum coming over the Pyrenees to race in the final. She's still up. It's been cut a little bit, but we know at the moment she is clean, and that will make the difference. So Anna Satila now sitting on the bubble for Brazil, waiting to see if she's done enough for the final. Gabriela Satkova, though, I think might make Anna wait a little bit longer. Yeah,
it's a very good run here. She's going to go in the lead again. Really composed, just looks so strong.
And surely into the race lead now. Yeah, 107.96 by quite some margin, and justifiably a big smile there. It's a sense of relief, and 3 finals from 3 World Cups entered. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, now on course, Andrea Herzog, 2-time world champion. She's an Olympic medalist, and of course she won her first world title here on this course.
Didn't see that touch onto it, but sun's kind of in the way for us a wee bit with the video, but this will again be a very good athlete to come out here and deliver a very good run.
She made the final last weekend in Po. She finished 6th there. Not really in it for the World Cup overall standings because she hasn't done all the races, but you can expect her to be a contender and maybe spoil the party for some of the contenders looking for the maximum points. 2.4 down, so given that includes a touch, then she's in touch with a place in the final and looking very confident.
Yeah, she always looks very confident in these runs, knows when to attack and when just to be settled in the water and put like that run down that needs to be delivered.
So it's still Anna Satila, Brazil, sitting on the bubble, waiting to see if she's done enough, and will Andrea keep her waiting for another run? So she's closed the deficit, 0.26. Herzog is clinically closing in.
Yeah, she looks like she could go faster as well. Looks like she's holding back a wee bit.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, to have the confidence to not go full gas and just know that you can do that, and hope you don't make a mistake at the bottom, because that's the bit of regret that you might have. Well, she's clinically through the bottom there, and the world champion of 2019 and 2021 goes into 2nd place. Well done, Andrea. You're in the final. So Satkova leading ahead of Herzog and Fiserova as we get into the last 4 boats. And here is the World Cup standings leader for 2022. Mallory Franklin of Great Britain has to get into the final to keep her dreams alive of winning the World Cup title for the first time.
Yeah, just dropping a wee bit low there, but the boat's always moving back up, trying to give a good speed out in the exit.
In fact, I need to apologise because it's not the first time. She won in 2016, so it would be the second time, but it is all about delivering on this run and the next, and you can see not quite getting the line there, and just having to do a plan B as she comes down to the first split. And, well, not too much of a drama.
Yeah, I think for that wee mistake at the top, she's doing well there, just to only be 1.69 off.
So now coming into 13, this is the critical section. I wonder whether she'll take this move 15, 16 on forwards. We saw Kimberley Woods do that, and she has gone for it forwards. Oh, and she's missed 16, and that's going to be a long paddle back. And the World Cup leader is under threat. If she doesn't make the final, she's left it open for others to come in. Well, she has managed to make it back, but that must be, what, 7, 8 seconds?
Yeah, I think maybe too much time's lost here. Yeah.
11 seconds down. Well, drama here in the Olympic Park. A penalty on 20. Mallory Franklin, the World Cup race leader, has left it to the others to decide whether she will be the World Cup champion of 2022. Well, speechless there. She's still holding on. She's not giving up, is she?
No, she's not one to give up. She'll always fight to the end, but she's deep down, she'll be hurting. Really wanted to make that final today and definitely fight for that over World Cup standing.
So the Olympic silver medalist is not through into the World Cup final. Here we see it. You can see it suddenly dawns on her. She's going for it, and then she's not going to make it. So suddenly she tries to get back up the eddy. She does well, but Franklin of Great Britain is not going to be in the final. So she's going to have to watch and see who can, well, get points, but whether she will win her second World Cup overall title.
It would be a good place for her to sit in. I think she'll be nervous later.
So, from one drama to the next, here is a top paddler, Viktoria Wolffhardt of Andorra, who was on the podium yesterday in the kayak, and she's looking very fast here today in the canoe.
Yeah, big in today with a lot of confidence, knowing she delivered some good runs yesterday. She'll be looking to do that exact same today, looking very good.
She is a double finalist at the Under-23 European Championships. In fact, she medalled last year at those Under-23 European Championships. But that silly penalty. Oh, it's easy for me to say that, but relatively easy gates, 10 and 18.
Yeah, maybe just losing a lack of concentration, just picking up that touch along the way.
But she still has the pace. She's still up. And certainly in terms of the automatic qualification time, she's well in. And Anna Satila is now confirmed into the final for Brazil. So Viktoriia Us is now on the bubble, waiting to see. I think she's going to have to wait a bit longer because Viktoria Wolffhardt of Andorra is going to go into the race leads for sure. Look at that. And that includes 4 seconds of penalties. So understandably, she's smiling. And that's going to, well, that is a raw time of 102.68. So starting to get towards the 100 seconds. 2 to go. Top 3, Viktoria Wolffhardt leads for Andorra. Satkova, Gabriela leads for the Czech Republic. Herzog for Germany. They're all into the final. As we now watch Marjorie Delassus for France setting off. And look, the French going for that round the top.
She made that look very quick, but just picking up a touch there. Almost too much speed, I think, across the wave.
So Marjorie, a very strong paddler. 4th in the Tokyo Games, 6th at the World Championships this year. Silver at the European Championships, and she's made the final in the 3 World Cups she's done so far this season. And she's absorbed some of that penalty early on the top of the course, and her job is to go inside 112.37, which is well in her control. So just to recap, Mallory Franklin, the World Cup standings race leader, is out of the final. So that has opened it up to Tereza Fiserova and Elena Lilik, who are into the final. And, it's going to be an exciting showdown in that final. 2.7 up on the middle section. Delassus is really delivering her hallmark fluidity and attacking this course.
Yeah, just looking so strong in the water, really deliberate, knowing where she wants to be. Maybe a bit low on that spin, but then she's getting good movement across to the upright.
She's not panicking, is she? She's not got the ideal line to 23. But she knows she's done enough. 112 is the time to beat. She's going to be well inside that. And Delassus for France, well done. You're in the final, just outside the race lead time into second place. So some fast times coming down, and it's all going to be down to who can keep it clean in the final. One to go.
I think it's showing what times can be done. Definitely that final, I think they'll be dropping again.
Well, it is Australia's Jessica Fox on course, the Olympic champion from Tokyo. She's a four-time world champion. She won here last year at the World Cup in Laseu. And she was silver at the World Championships in Augsburg. That was just about 2 months ago. Looking strong on the top section.
Yeah, the boat's running really nicely through here. Keeping it clean as well.
Well, she did well there because she caught the bottom of the river with the back of her boat. But, 0.7 down, well, she's in touch, and I suspect she'll just be controlling herself a little bit, not taking too many risks on this semi-final run. And no, yesterday, in the kayak event, she missed the final.
Yeah, she'll be looking to come back and really deliver runs today and get herself back on that podium.
Beautifully done, 15 to 16. Really low risk there, and that will have found her some time. Look at that there. She is now the virtual race leader, super tight on 20. So Jessica Fox, the last paddler down. So it is all down to Fox versus Us for the final place in this 10-boat final. Oh, it's a bit sticky on 22, but she's got time in hand.
Yeah, just to stay really composed there, keep the boat flat.
Time,
sure drive out.
Time to beat 112.37. She's going to be comfortably inside that. Fox of Australia goes into the race lead. It's a clean run, 105.89, and there's still very much time in there, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think those times will be coming down.
Well, relief for Jessica Fox, because she did miss the final yesterday. She still secured the overall World Cup title in the kayak. And, well, a win here, particularly with Mallory Franklin going out, it's not out of the question that she could go through. So that concludes the racing here in the women's canoe semi-finals. We'll be up very shortly, don't go away, because we'll have the men's canoe semi-finals, and of course the women's canoe finals get underway 11:30 Central European time. But Jessica Fox, after a slow start to the season in the canoe, is starting to find her form.
Yeah, she'll be looking to come out in that final now and really deliver a run and probably take the win and see where that puts her overall.
Well, the final results there for the semi-final. Jessica Fox is ahead of Monica Doria Villaruble, Marjorie Delassus. They're the top three. They'll race in reverse order. Fox goes last in the final. And in the final also, Gabriela Satkova, Andrea Herzog, Tereza Fiserova, Ainhoa Limero of Spain. So the Spanish do have one representative. Elena Lilik, the world champion of last year for Germany. Elena Borghi of Italy, the under-23 world champion of this year. And Ana Satila for Brazil will lead off that women's canoe final. What a lineup!
Yeah, it's going to be a good final. It's going to be a showdown, I think.
Well, thank you, Sophie, for joining me in the booth. It's been great, and we'll see you again for the final.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having us.
And don't go away, because we'll be up very shortly with the men's canoe semi-finals. So there are the final results from this women's canoe semi-final. Our 10 finalists there. Jessica Fox wins the semi-final for Australia. She'll go off last in the final. What a lineup it is. The likes of Herzog of Germany. And also you've got in there Tereza Fiserova. But the big news is, well, Kimberley Woods misses out. But there's the big news. Mallory Franklin of Great Britain, the World Cup standings leader after 4 races, is out of the final. And she leaves it for others to decide where she finishes. But here we are, the men's canoe semi-final. And we've got a tight lineup of the men's canoe. 30 boats from the heats racing in reverse order of their performance in those heats. And here it is. Here's the lineup. And again, a bit of a who's who of canoe slalom. Myself, Andy Maddock, and now alongside me, Daniel Parry from the Canadian team. Welcome, Daniel.
Hey Andy, it's nice to be here. We've got a really exciting semi-final ahead of us, or a semi-final ahead of us, and I think we'll see some exciting racing. We've got big names such as Miguel Trave appearing again today, and he competed in the races yesterday as well, so he's having a really good weekend.
Yeah, and you expect him to be fast on his home water, but the big battle is between the two Slovenians, isn't it? Luka Bozic and Benjamin Savcek. They are so tight on the overall standings, and it's this World Cup final that's going to determine who takes the honours.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting to watch. They're both going to be high tension, excited to get this done, but only one can succeed, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be yet.
Well, the first job is to make it through into the final, isn't it? And then at least your destiny is in your hands. We've just seen in the women's canoe, then Mallory Franklin, who has a 39-point lead in the World Cup standings, has missed the final, and she's going to have an anxious couple of hours as she basically has to sit and watch and see whether she's done enough.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of pressure for her. Coming into this race, she was in a really good position, but performing under pressure sometimes can just be too much for the athletes.
So double points in this race. So normally 60 points for a win, but 120 points, and particularly the top 3 points are loaded. So the double points makes it quite significant. So we're underway with racing. And first up, Robert Hendrick of Ireland sets off. His best result in the World Cup so far, 14th, so just outside of a final position. That was in the second World Cup of the season in Krakow in Poland.
Yeah, he's looking cool, calm, composed on the top half of this course. He's looked like he's trying to go for a smooth but fast run all the way down to the bottom. A review on gate 5, so we don't know if that's going to be a touch or a 50, but I didn't notice anything. Did you, Andy?
No, I think the pole moved a little bit, but it may well be to just look at whether it was a water splash. You come in there quite a pace, and when you spin, you can end up just pushing a bit of the water. You only get penalised if you hit it with a part of your boat, your body, or your paddle. The water will splash up, and that's well, the judges have a number of different camera angles to be able to determine that.
And the review has been taken off, and Robert is on a flying run. Maybe not super he had to go for a spin there, which I'm not sure he was planning, but he's looking cool, calm, composed. Very, very impressive run so far.
Yeah, you're right, and the Irish canoes have had a good season this year.
Yes, for sure. No, that's a hard move in C1. That's really hard because you have to be able to flow the boat through the gate, and the canoe is much more difficult for that because you only have the one blade.
Yeah, as soon as you put too much rotation on it, then you lose that forward boat speed, don't you? And you then it slips away.
Yeah, as we saw a little bit there, he went onto the stern a little too much, and he just kind of lost some speed.
So it's a good run here for our first competitor, Robert Hendrick of Ireland. He stops the clock at 98.63. He's disappointed with that. That includes a 2-second penalty on gate 22, but it was a solid run. I suspect that'll be in the teams overall.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't think he's in for a shot for the final at the moment with that time, but hey, things go wrong. Other people might mess up. Maybe I'm wrong.
It is certainly a technical course. Our course designers Imrati Goikachea and Andre Voice have certainly set the challenge, but the canoe athletes have had the opportunity to watch all the kayak semi-finals and finals yesterday, and there'll be some learning from that for sure. As we watch now, Shota Sasaki of Japan on course, who, well, his best result so far is just the one semi-final last weekend in Po, finished 29th.
Yeah, he's been having a good back half of the season from a little bit of struggling at the start. He's really pulling through. A good start to his run so far. No major mistakes. Maybe not quite as fast as you would like. Oh, a little touch on the inside pole of 9, gate 9 there.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because this whole sequence running up to the bridge, you just want to stay ahead of the game, don't you? So you go into 9, you try and take as much as you can out of it, but so easy just to brush the pole.
Yeah, there's only a hair between the athletes and the pole most of the time here. Oh, he's also going for a spin. Maybe they're doing it on purpose and I'm just crazy. Oh, and a touch on gate 16 as well. Yeah, that's going to put him out of the running, sadly.
Yeah, I think 2 touches now. No real opportunity for a place in the 10-boat final. But it'd be interesting to see. I think there's a point as you exit 14 that you know that you've not done enough to do it forwards, and the quick decision-making is almost the skill of an elite canoe slalom paddler, isn't it? It's knowing to, okay, this isn't working, make a quick decision, change the plan.
Yeah, yeah, that's 90% of the sport is quick decisions. If you had a slow reaction time, there's no way you could compete, because so much goes wrong in your run, and you have to be able to refocus and complete your moves.
So into second place for Shota Sasaki of Japan, and he was 46th at the World Championships. He settles 107.03, that includes 4 seconds of penalties, but still Robert Hendrick has set the pace, the sub-100 pace, as we watch Brody Crawford now for Australia, setting off from the top of the course.
Losing a bit of speed into gate 3 there, but managing to recover from it well.
Well, he's an under-23 World Championship finalist, yet to make a final in the World Cup season so far this year.
Yeah, and this is the last World Cup, so he's really going to want it.
So he through the sticky finger section. You can see the bottom of the boat just dragging along the bottom of the river.
Yeah. Yeah, the sticky finger section. That's a perfect name for that.
So he's up on the split of Hendrick of Ireland so far, but the job really is to race those still to come, because we've got some big names, the likes of the Olympic champion Benjamin Savsek racing. We've got Denis Gargaud-Chanou, the Rio Olympic champion, and the reigning World Cup champion.
Going direct.
Oh,
nice.
And he does it beautifully.
Nicely executed.
He made that look easy. That's probably the toughest move on the course, isn't it?
Yeah, because the athletes, it doesn't, visually from the bank, it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be particularly difficult, but the athletes are trying to cut the line too much, and so they aren't coming out into the flow enough, and then they're getting rejected. But Brody absolutely destroyed that.
Yeah, and he was very ambitious on gate 20 as well. He took a very direct line.
And getting washed down into 23, sadly. But he's using the speed of the eddy to get himself up, and he hasn't lost too much time.
Well, it's a clean run coming together for Brody Crawford of Australia. It's going to be outside the current race speed time, but only just, and into second place. He's not sure what to think, is he? Because it's a solid run, but he knows it's probably not quite enough to be the right side of the line.
Yeah, sadly in today's semi-final, it's going to take more than just a solid run to make your way into the 10-boat final. People are going to be, they really want these double points.
So Hendrick leading ahead of Crawford and Sasaki as we watch Timo Trimmer on course for Germany.
Timo Trimmer with a touch on gate 1, just with his bow, I believe. That's going to be difficult to refocus from.
I wonder if that's the plan A there on gate 5 to go across the top. The French team in the women's canoe seem to have that as their plan.
Yeah, I don't think that was planned, but I did see some of the canoes doing it, the women's canoes doing it, so you never know, but I think that might have been improvised.
Well, he's an under-23 world and European championship finalist. Finished 12th last weekend in Po. That was his best result of the World Cup season so far, but you see another penalty now, so 4 seconds of penalty showing, and in this kind of tight racing, in this calibre of field, only 10 places in the final, you've got to be really good to get in with 4 seconds of penalties.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a pretty incredible run if he wants to make this up.
So I think in this kind of technical course, you might, if you're good, be able to absorb 1 touch.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that you could absorb 2 touches if you had really good top and bottom, because we haven't seen like a perfect run so far. But I think that's going to take something really special.
So we saw the men's kayak event, the fastest time, 84 seconds, and I would say that we would be expecting to be around about the 90 seconds. I don't know, any opinion on that?
Yeah, I think we're going to finish around 90, 91. I'm not certain whether the final is going to go faster than the semi-final today. Usually the semi-final is a little bit quicker because people are really pushing, but I'm not sure today. I think people are going to go crazy in that final.
So disappointment there for Timo Trimmer, 6 seconds of penalties. 1:01.22 was the time, and he's not going to make it through into the final. So the second of our Irish paddlers, we've got 3 in the semi-final. Jake Corcoran now is on course.
No, hasn't really found his flow so far yet. Yeah, you see just almost falling off the back of the wave there, but he just needs to stay focused and continue on with the course because he hasn't made any huge mistakes yet.
Yeah, he made the final in the first race of the World Cup Series back in June in Prague. Finished 10th in that final, so he is capable of making the final. The Irish team seem to have a thing about Laseo. They seem to do well here.
Yeah, I've heard that they do quite a bit of training here and in Pau, so it's nice to watch them and see them performing so well because they're all super nice people.
It's a pity there. Jake, he did gain 13 really nicely, but on the exit he takes the touch. And that's ambitious. On 15, 16, that was a straight line, but 15 was just, a flyby. Well, a flyby, he didn't get his whole head and boat in. And unfortunately, unless that's removed, then there's no way back into the final for Jake.
Yeah, we didn't have a super great angle for that, but I don't think any of his bow went through.
We may get a slow-mo on that, but the judges were very quick to award that, and he did make it look a little bit too direct.
Yeah.
If it's too good to be true, then it is probably too good to be true. So yeah, Jake Corcoran now crosses the line. Well, it is a quick time, but
the waggle of the finger. Something that some athletes do when they get to the bottom and they disagree with their penalties or touches. However, Jake, I think you might have to just take that one.
Well, we'll have to see what the judges say. Here is the move. Now, his head's inside, but I think the judges will have said no boat.
Maybe a little piece of the stern, but I think that's really going to take some.
Well, sadly, he's asked the question. Well, he's left the judges to answer the question that he's asked. So at the moment, still Robert Hendrick leading for Ireland as we now watch Caelan Bassett of Australia on course. Wow, that's a good move on 5.
Yeah, he dropped into the wave, already pointed across to the next upstream. He was really well composed through there. He looks focused and determined.
Silver medalist at the Oceania Championships earlier on in the season. And has competed in all 4 World Cups, but yet to make a final this season.
Oh, and a little foolish touch on the inside pole at gate 9 again. People are just trying to cut the lines too tight.
Yeah, and he's clearly got the pace on the top, but I don't think that split time will include the 2 seconds of penalties because it literally happened at the same time. So he's smooth through 13, 14. This is where Corcoran of Ireland had problems, and nicely through there. He keeps it calm and composed.
Yeah, little mistake on the backside of 16 there where he just kind of lost the bow a little bit and he had to put in an emergency crossbow stroke, but yeah, almost perfect.
Well, he's absorbed some of that penalty now in the middle section as he comes down over the drop. He's going to have to drop into 22, keep the boat flat, and then react really quickly.
Nice. That was the best I think we've seen 22, 23 done so far today.
It's good to see Caelan Bassett getting a good run in, yet to make a top 20, but he's late on 24 to 25. He keeps it clean, and surely he's going to take the rigs lead. It's going to be tight, and just outside into second place. So Robert Hendrick still leading for Ireland ahead of Caelan Bassett and Brody Crawford. The early stages of this men's canoe semi-final. We're live from Laseo in the Spanish Pyrenees. And now Wojciech Heger of the Czech Republic is on course, 7th at the World Championships.
Going for a downstream punt there because he got too close to the wall. A little just to push off to try to accelerate himself a little bit faster.
It's easily done there, isn't it? Because if you almost get the speed too nicely through gate 2, you end up on the wall.
Yeah, you have to time it really well because you don't necessarily want too much speed through gate 2, but you want a lot of speed through gate 3. It's a very difficult sequence, although they're doing it really well.
He's only done 2 World Cups this season, but he was 5th in the first one, 11th last weekend, just outside the final, so he clearly has the pace to be in the final. And in terms of the overall standings, then, well, because he's only done 2, he's not really in the mix, but he can certainly upset the others who are contesting for the top spot.
I might be crazy, but I think I might have seen a tiny little touch on gate 9 when he went through. But we're going to leave that up to the judges because I don't actually know.
Well, let's see. He's up on the split. He did 15 and 16 very nicely, and that's going to be a crux position for this semi-finalist. Is getting through that middle section clean is certainly one. As you come down to the bottom, you know you've done most of the job, but you've still got to keep that focus.
Oh no! Oh, that's so frustrating.
You can see he spotted the line. He gets the beautiful line, but he's just a bit slow getting his weight forward.
Yeah, he just didn't shift forward. Oh, it still goes into the race lead, but sadly with that 2-second penalty, I'm still not sure that's going to be enough for the final.
So it's a 95.78 plus that 2-second penalty on gate 23. And well, we're seeing the times coming down, but as Daniel says, then there's still a number of boats to come, and it's all about getting into the top 10 and fighting it out in the World Cup final. Anze Berchitch now for Slovenia, really smooth on the top.
Yeah, and because he's a dominant side lefty paddler, he had a really good exit out of gate 2. He didn't have to punt off the wall or anything. He was just flew through there.
Very experienced paddler for the Slovenian team. He's only made 1 final in the World Cup this season. That was on his home water, Tartsen. And there he finished 10th. And the Slovenians strong in this event, and actually it's 2 Slovenians, Luka Bozic and Benjamin Savsek, still to come in this semi-final, who are leading the standings overall. But still, nothing is guaranteed, as we've already seen in the women's canoe event. So it'll all be down to making sure you get into the final, and then you can have a little bit more certainty.
A good run coming together so far. A little tight through there, through gate 15, but he pulled it off nicely. Nice maneuvering, smooth. He hasn't lost his speed throughout any of the run.
So still in touch. He's the wrong side, 0.47, but don't forget the current race leader, Wojciech Heger, had a penalty on the bottom section. So still the opportunity for Berchitch to take the early race lead here in this men's canoe semi-final. Great spin on 22.
Yeah, this last section has to be really good though if he wants to. He really wants to get it. Oh, a little wide.
Wow, how did he stay off the pole on 25? But he is into the race lead, and he found a bit of time. 96.87. Anze Berchitch goes ahead of Wojciech Heger and Robert Hendrick.
There we see Peter Kauser, the well-seasoned and very important Slovenian kayaker to the community.
Yeah, he finished 3rd in the overall World Cup standings in the kayak event in yesterday's competition. As we watch Adam Burgess now for Great Britain, sets off on his campaign. He's been on the podium in the early part of the World Cup season. Finished 3rd in the 2nd race. 3 finals from 4 starts.
Yeah, he's put together a good top section so far, but I'm a little worried for him because he looks like he's rushing, and rushing can lead to mistakes lower down on the course.
He's normally super smooth, isn't he? But he didn't quite find the groove in those top sections. But this section between gate 8 and 9 does give you the opportunity to just settle a little bit, and he is up. Now he's got to settle.
It was good, but like he has to make sure he's not tired and losing focus by the bottom, because it's very easy once you put out all your effort on the top to lose it in the last couple of gates.
Silky smooth into 14. Now he's got to get the bows round through 15. He's going to be late in 16, but he gets the move. Burgess now coming down to the 2nd split, and will he have opened up the advantage? Then yes, by over a second.
An excellent run coming together for Adam at the moment.
So he was 4th at the Olympic Games last season in Tokyo. 30 years old and 8th at this year's World Championships.
Oh, nice.
Well, he's a little bit low at 23, but he's got the boat speed now. He's now just got to control it, get the bows down through 24. And now get on the gas. Surely the new race lead time for Adam Burgess of Great Britain. It's close, but it is inside. And, well, he's happy, but he knows there's still some very fast paddlers to go.
Yeah, that's going to be... I'm not sure about that. I think that's going to be enough, but there's no way to know for certain.
Well, he's been in 3 finals back-to-back. And he'll just have to wait and see. That's the hazard of going off early in the semi-final. He had to do 2 runs in the heats to get through. As we watch now, Thomas Kirklin of Switzerland going for a place in this final. Thomas is always a really adventurous paddler, takes a lot of risks, and made the final last weekend in Po.
Yeah, and he's looking good in this new gala boat. He's really putting it together this season.
So he was 7th at the European Championships earlier on this season. We haven't seen so much of him in the World Cup standings, but look at that. He's found time at the top, a second up on the leader Burgess of Great Britain on the early part of this course. You can expect him to be ducking and diving on 15 and 16.
Yeah, ready for some entertainment. Oh, losing the bow. Oh, yeah, there you go. Losing the bow a little bit there, sadly. I have to agree. I think that's going to be a 50-second penalty on game 15.
Well, it's been awarded as a 50-second penalty. It is now being reviewed. And I have to say, he had super quick reactions there. He flicked the tail round to try and get some boat in the gate line at the same time as his head. But we haven't got the best camera angle here on the broadcast. The judges will have a much better camera angle. And at the moment, that 50-second penalty still stands for Thomas Kirklin on gate 15. It's a quick run, but you've got to keep the penalties down as well. It's going to stop the clock, and it's a 94.59, but that move on gate 15, here we see it, a different camera angle.
Yeah, he just came out of the upstream left and kind of didn't come out far enough and almost buried the bow. That was...
Well, I think from that camera angle, I'm not even sure his head was inside the gate, let alone the boat. But so it's not going to be back-to-back finals for Thomas Kirklin of Switzerland. Still Burgess leading ahead of Berchitch and Hager as we're into the last 20 boats in this men's canoe semi-final. On course for Australia, it is Tristan Carter, the Oceania champion of 2022.
And the 3rd Australian in this semi-final so far. Really good weekend for the Aussies.
Yeah, the Aussies, the Irish have really come strong here. This venue has hosted the World Championships 3 times since it was built 30 years ago for the Barcelona Olympics. Last time it hosted was in 2019, and well, Tristan's found time at the top, 0.22.
Oh, yeah, okay, nice, good save, but he was a little tight through there.
And he's late into 13, and that's always the risk, is if you're not in touch with 13, as dropping almost on top of it, your bows will rise.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot on the end of the bow where you can drop in and just tuck it under, but sadly he's now smashing the gates.
Well, 15-16 has caused problems again. Actually, it looks like damage limitation there for Tristan, because whilst he has taken a 2-second penalty on 16, then it could have been a lot worse, but all gone wrong here. It's just an awful gate 20 if you come to a standstill.
Yeah, the other paddlers that we've seen so far going through gate 20, they almost pull up past the gate before they start turning out, but sadly he made the mistake of trying to come out before it fully passed through the gate, and he got punished for it.
So Tristan Carter of Australia, unfortunately, that 50-second penalty will keep him out of the final and into 11th place at the moment. Disappointment there. So Burgess still leading for Great Britain ahead of Berchitch of Slovenia and Hager of the Czech Republic. Marko Mirgorodsky of Slovakia now going down the course. Now, he had a really good season in 2021, and it was the World Cup final where things unravelled for him. Unfortunately, he was in the mix to take the World Cup overall title. He missed the final and didn't even make the top 3 as a result.
Oh no. Okay, no, he saved it. He saved it really well through gate 5, but that was looking like it was going to be a flip for Miho.
Well, he's rescued it, but now he's just going to have to settle it a little bit. We saw that with Adam Burgess of Great Britain, the current race leader. He just had a really horrible start, but managed to settle in. And he is still up on the split time. 0.32 the advantage now coming into the middle section. And there's the sweet spot. We see you have to come in almost on top of the gate on 13 because it's all about controlling where your bows go to make sure they don't touch the poles.
No, okay, yeah. It's a really difficult section. The water there is moving in all sorts of directions. He went for a spin and he forgot to look behind him at the gate, and he ended up just getting pushed around.
So Miergorodski of Slovakia, time loss there, and 5.27 down, so big time loss there. Gate 13 is being reviewed, but no penalty showing at the moment as it comes down towards this bottom drop. The biggest part of the course here in Laseo, and oh, that's tough, isn't it? The back of the boat just flicks up, too much edge, and another penalty on 22.
Yeah, this bottom section here, the last drop was actually, I can't remember which way it went around, but the final drop in Bratislava is also very, very similar. They were modeled after each other, so it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's an Andrei Seeback course, so he's the guy that designed Liptovsky Mikolas, and then he designed this course, and well, what a legacy from the Olympics it is.
Yeah, this has to be one of my favorite courses.
Now on course for Ireland, Liam Jigou. He's a World Cup winner in Po in 2020. He's made a final already this season, and an under-23 World Championship medalist, 15th in Tokyo.
Yeah, he really had to fight to get onto the wave after gate 5. That was a real struggle for him, but he managed to pull up through it, and he still seems to be on his groove, and he seems focused. Ooh, getting really close to that rock, but no damage done.
So Liam actually has made 2 finals this season, an 8th and a 6th place in those 2 appearances in the final. Still in touch. Clean at the top. There is a review going on gate 5, but no penalty awarded so far. It's really on full stretch as he comes out of gate 13 on the crossbow. Now, what can he do here? Oh, dragging it round. He's good position on 15, and he holds on. At one stage, it looked like he was going to get into difficulty, but he kept his calm, and it looks like he is, well, 2.3 down, so lost a bit of time.
Yeah, but for a moment there, it looked like he was about to do the same thing as Thomas and just kind of lose the bow into the eddy, but he pulled it out real nice.
So over the drop into 22. It's deep, but he's kept the bows moving, and now exits. He takes the tight line. He's got to drag it round for 24.
Oh, he's really fighting for this.
He's kept it clean. Now, Liam Jigou of Ireland goes into 4th place, 98.47. He doesn't really do anything wrong, but there's a cluster of people there. And is he the wrong side of a few tenths of a second?
He didn't necessarily make any big mistakes in that run, but it doesn't take big mistakes to be out of the final here.
So Matej Benoš of Slovakia, who, well, you discount him at your peril, really. He's always capable of delivering something special, but not necessarily quite as consistent as he was at one stage in his career.
Oh, and another silly touch on gate 5 from Matej. Matej has a really interesting style. He has really long arms and he has a long torso, so he really heaves the boat past his paddle. It's a really cool style to watch.
Well, he's got a big frame to move, hasn't he? He's very tall and probably weighs, I would guess, about 10 or 15 kilos more than someone like Adam Burgess, the race leader.
Yeah, it takes some extra doing to get himself through these gates, but he also gets the benefit of strength.
So Benoš, after that early mistake, is still competitive. We'll get an indication as he comes through gate 18 as to where he stacks up, and he's through the tricky 15-16 move. And now, as he comes to 18, he'll show that he is in touch. Just 0.58 down on race leader Burgess of Great Britain, and that's a beautiful move on 20.
Wow.
High risk, but he gets the reward. So now, spins on the spot, 22, not very stable there, but he manages somehow to keep his run on track.
Yeah, this is going to be tight.
So 96.28, the time to beat. He's going to be close,
nice.
and he is just inside. And Benuš of Slovakia goes into the race lead, but again, another athlete just disappointed with his performance and not totally convinced it's enough.
Yeah, these athletes really know the standard of the field, and they know that if they don't have a perfect run there, they aren't guaranteed anything.
So 94.13, that's the fastest raw time so far. As we watch the first of our Spanish athletes, it's Luis Fernandez on course now.
Whoa, that was crazy. He absolutely destroyed gate 2.
Well, there'll be a bit of local knowledge coming in. Made the final here in 2021. So he applied that knowledge well then. What can he do here? He's an under-23 World Championship finalist. He's not made any finals in the World Cup so far this season. In fact, his best place is 16th. That was in the second race of the season in Krakow. But look at that, nearly 3 seconds he's found at the top.
Wow. Really showing this crazy local knowledge here.
But it is about delivering under pressure as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be really hard for him in front of his home crowd, especially in the final today when you're going to have more spectators. Oh no, and a big old punt on gate 15.
So he does take the 2-second penalty, but it wasn't slow through there.
No, it was not. Almost, I wouldn't say worth taking the 2-second penalty, but that was the best option for him in the position he was.
So still has nearly a second advantage over Benuš of Slovakia, but Benuš was so strong through gate 20. Fernandez not so good, but this wasn't Benuš's strong point down at the bottom of the course. So Fernandez of Spain still stands a good chance of making it through, but he's late to 25. And he takes a touch. He knew that was a possibility when he got late to 25, and there you can see the frustration. And only into 9th place, 3.38 down, and look how tight the racing is around that late 90s kind of run time.
Shoot, that's so unfortunate. That's really disappointing for him.
So Maciej Benuš still leading for Slovakia, ahead of Adam Burgess of Great Britain and Anze Berchitch of Slovenia at the halfway point in this men's canoe semi-final here, live from Laseo de Gel in the Spanish Pyrenees, as we watch Zach Locken from the United States of America, finalist at the Tokyo Olympic Games. He finished 7th there, and again, not yet made a final this season, which is unusual for him.
Yeah, he's been kind of struggling to put it together in the semis, but maybe today's the day where we're going to see something special from him. It's looking pretty good coming into this split. Nice.
Well, found a second on the top section, and now he needs to settle in, because it is going to be all about delivering these sequence. And
Zach, why are you doing this?
Upstream 13, a penalty, and now he's good on 15-16 though. That's very confident.
Yeah, I think he knows that with that touch he's really going to have to fly through the bottom section of this course. I think he can do it. I think, yeah, still in touch, only a second down.
Well, that'd be good. He's kept out wide through 20. No, I would say that's good. It's so easy, isn't it, as you run through gate 19, your brain is saying stay out, open up the move, and your body just says, hey, let's just nail this.
Yeah, for a second it looked like he was going to try to exit too soon, but it ended up being perfect.
So Zach Locken of the United States still in the mix here as he comes through the last gate. Just the one penalty showing on gate 13, and he stops the clock in 5th place. So he is the right side of that big cluster of people, but we still have 14 boats to go in this men's canoe semi-final. So he knows it's going to be a long wait.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. That's definitely no guarantees with that run.
So back to the top of the course, and Ryan Wesley for Great Britain sets off on his semi-final. He's a 2-time World Championship medalist, he's a European champion, and He's had a lot of injury problems over the last few seasons, and good to see him back and injury-free, and that's a beautiful move on 5.
Yeah, he took a more interesting line just down the first drop. He went a little further left than everybody else I've seen, and it ended up paying off excellently. He got a beautiful S through the gate 2.
So he's raced in 3 of the 4 World Cups, missing the last one in Po, but he has made a final. He made the final in Krakow, finishing 7th, and look at that, 2 seconds at the top. But as we've seen from many people, that is only the start of the job that they have to do.
Go on, say your thing. Do it.
I'm not going to do it. Say that you can lose the race at the top, but you can't win. Is that what you're going to say, Daniel? Well, thank you for that.
We need to get you a shirt that says that on.
So Ryan Westley, though, smoothly through the middle section. We'll see on gate 18 how he stacks up on the split, and he's held on to that advantage, although there is a review going on gate 13. No doubt about a touch on 20, though. Yeah,
little touch on his shoulder. He came in, ducked it, and just popped up too early. Little timing error there.
So he spins the boat round, and great on the crossbow. He committed to that move. Wesley.
Yeah, he got caught super nice by that eddy, and it just pushed him up through the gate.
Well, it's a quick time, and he's still struggling to get the line on the finish. 94.87, so he takes the race lead.
Wow.
And he has been given another penalty on 13, so that moves him down to 3rd place. But still, that's the fastest time we've seen, 92.87 plus 4 seconds in penalties. Gate 13 and gate 20. So, well, it's going to be a long wait for him. I think he's going to be around about that 10th place. It's just which side, who knows?
Yeah, but nothing's for certain yet. Denny Garagoshinou now up on the course, the first of the switchblade paddlers that we're seeing in this men's canoe semi-final today.
Yeah, and the reigning World Cup champion who comes into this overall 2022 standings in 4th place, so still in the mix, but a little bit under the influence really of what the others do. He's trailing by around about 50 points, and so although he could still be in the top 3, he's going to need a bit of a gap between his performance and the others if he wants to take the title. But 2 seconds up on the top, and as expected, looking very composed.
Yeah, it just shows there definitely is 2 seconds to be had on the top, because each person seems to be up on the split at the top, and then Matej just pulls ahead at the end. Oh, Denny, what are you doing?
Well, a 50-second penalty for the Olympic champion of Rio, the reigning World Cup champion, and his hopes of getting into the top 3 are real hanging by a thread, because that 50-second penalty, it's game over. And, well, big news there for the winner of the World Cup last weekend in Po, just over the mountains here.
Yeah, you could see in his eyes he wanted to quit after he 50'd that game, but he's going to finish the run off and set a good example for everybody else.
Well, ever the professional, but Denny Garagoshinou, here we see it, gate 15. He's through, but gate 16, he's just late. He didn't quite have a plan. He didn't react quickly enough. And there, as you say, kind of, he knows what's happened, but ever the professional, he finishes the run. But we won't be seeing Denny in the final. So up to the top of the course, Gregor Hedvig now goes for Poland. Yet to make a final. Closest performance in the World Cup so far, 13th in the 2nd race of the season, and looking smooth at the top of the course. We've seen loads of people getting quick split times on the top, but it's the middle and the bottom that will determine the place in the final.
Yeah, Gregor, it's one of those paddlers who he really has the talent. You can see it in his training. He's got the skill to pull one together, but so far this season he's kind of struggled to push through to these finals.
So he's done the job at the top, 1.5 seconds up now. This is where it counts. He was 14th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games last year. You can see really spotting the line there, 13-14 now. This is where Garagoshinou struggled, but no problems there for Hedvig.
Yeah, he went super high out of the second up left, and it just, he ended up having to spend a little more time. Oh my God, sorry. Yeah, touch on gate 18, just a silly little one.
And that's super tight on 20. From that angle, there was never going to be an easy way of navigating that gate. So he goes from being in a really strong position to now 6 seconds of penalties, and Hedvig of Poland is looking like he's not going to progress to the final.
Yeah, it all goes wrong in the last section of the course for Gregor.
And another penalty at the bottom, and the judges reviewing a number of other gates. So 14th place for now, and it's really an opportunity to reflect. I think this is a really tough course set by the course designers, but it's a fair course, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a super tough course. You don't get a break any of the way down. Although they're doing the top section really well and it may look easy, it's just because they're not as tired at the top. It's hard all the way down. You don't get any breaks. It's probably the hardest course we've had all season.
So 11 boats still to go in this men's canoe semi-final, so it won't be long before we confirm our finalists, and already a touch on the top for Lena Tusheva of Germany.
Yeah, just a little touch on gate 3 for him with the blade of his paddle.
So now coming through Sticky Fingers, now setting up through gate 7 and 8. And Sticky Fingers is called that because the water's just so inconsistent, really shallow, and as you drop over, you really don't know whether you're going to be kicked left or right.
Yeah, and these guys they're so good at what we call like reading the water. They know what the water is going to do that you don't even notice that it's like that. But it feels like you're going through a blender or like in a sauna when you're paddling in that.
And it's fair to say, very rarely do we have moves actually in Sticky Fingers because of the just the uncertainty of the water. It's not really fair. But this is a useful run. Although that mistake at the top of the course, Leonard has really held it together, and he's still in touch with a place in the top 3.
Yeah, a good run. Still in touch at the time. He's going to have to do something good on the bottom here if he wants to go into the race lead. But this run could be good enough. Maybe he'll a little mistake coming into gate, coming into that down, but he recovers from it well.
Yeah, so it is a solid run, but those little mistakes adding up after that touch on the downstream gate 3 at the top. Lena Tusheva of Germany will stop the clock, 99.49, outside of the final.
Wow, this is a super tight semi-final. 3 seconds down, and he's already ranked into 11th. This is incredible.
So Marta Bertoncelli of Slovakia sits in pole position to be the first qualifier into the final. Adam Burgess of Great Britain sitting in second. Ryan Wesley of Great Britain sitting in third place. Well, third equal with Anze Berchitch, but at the moment they're separated because Ryan Wesley was faster but had penalties. So into the top 10, and the world champion of 2021, Vaclav Chalupka, is on course.
Yeah, almost looked like he was trying to cross too early through gate 5, but so he had to go for a bit of a head duck, but I think he pulled it off well.
One final in the World Cup so far, 5th in Krakow. He also made the final in the World Championships, where he didn't manage to defend his world title, but he certainly showed he is still a contender. Look, 3.3 up on the top. And it didn't look that quick. It's deceptive, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes all it takes is a couple good swirls or some slightly tighter lines to really rocket you into a good position.
Well, there is a review going on gate 5, but no penalties showing at the moment. As he now comes down, he's comfortably through the middle section, so that will be one bit ticked off. That's one of the high-risk sections, and he's still up.
Yeah, good. He just waited for it. That really showed his experience as a paddler. He just waited for the gate, waited until the swirl was doing what he wanted it to do, and then he just pushed through. Touch on gate 22, but he still stands a chance of absorbing that touch.
He does, and he's certainly competitive enough to make it through to the final. So 96.13 the time to beat. He's going to be inside that, even with that touch. And into first place, 94.91. And still a review going on the gate at the top. Let's have a look. Gate 22 is confirmed, but no other penalties showing, but there is a review still going on, and that's finished. So Chalupka is into the final. Well done, Vaclav. And Marta Bertoncelli of Slovakia now has to wait a little bit longer. Here is a name to watch, Miguel Trabe of Spain. He won here at the World Cup last year, and he's blisteringly quick on his home course.
Yeah, watching him paddle here is like magic. He just knows all the moves. He knows what all the waves do. So sometimes watching paddlers paddle on their home course is truly incredible, and this is one of those cases.
Yeah, he makes the boat dance across the water when he finds the line. He's a junior world champion from a few years ago in kayak and canoe. And he was 5th last weekend in Po, and his season has really got underway over the last 2 World Cups.
Yeah, and he's still super young. He's still, this is his, I believe this was his last year of U23, and he had a good performance at the European Junior U23 World, Junior U23s, and yeah, he's had a good season.
Yeah, you're right. He was 4th at the Under-23 European Championships this season, and he's certainly setting a pace. Is it going to be ahead? It is ahead, surely, by nearly a second over Chalupka, and Chalupka was quick.
Yeah.
Again, another athlete very tight on 20, but keeps his cool, just spots the exit, and then goes in for the kill. I wonder how many times he's done this move in training, but it's all very well having done it in training. You've got to deliver it in the race, and Trave for Spain is surely going to be our next confirmed finalist. He is challenging for the race lead time, 94.91 the time to beat. He's well inside that. Boom, 92.77. Miguel Trave, well, that's well received by the Spanish crowd.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your 90.77 rock time, because he had a +2 on gate 16 added towards the end.
Ah, yeah, good spot there. So it is getting quicker. And we still have, well, 8 boats to go in this men's canoe semi-final. Roberto Colazingardi now goes for Italy. So Miguel Trave and Vaclav Chalupka are confirmed into the final. Mate Benus and Adam Burgess in that order, the ones sitting waiting to see if they've done enough. So Colazingardi is a World Cup winner from a few years ago, 2019, I think in Tartsan, Slovenia. And on his day, he's very quick indeed. He's yet to make a final yet this season. It's 14th was his best result, and that again was in Tartsan, Slovenia.
Yeah, still in touch at the time, 0.92.
Well, actually, 0.92 is a good challenge, because we know how fast those run times have been from Miguel Trave and Vaclav Chalupka.
Oh, yeah, if he sticks with that at 0.92 all the way down, and he managed to hold it together, he's good.
Well, he did well there at 15.16. I thought he was getting a little bit stationary running into 15, which is a high risk, but he's kept it together. 2 seconds down on the race split time, but he's still in touch with a place in the final. Benos' time, 96.13. That's the time he's really racing against if he wants a place in the final.
Well, a little shaky through that, but he managed to pull it off, cross nicely, and really used the flow of the eddy to help him up through that gate.
Well, it's going to be close. He's outside of the time of Benos, and it's all about where he finishes in terms of the tenths, 96.25. So he slots in between Benos and Burgess now, and he's in with a shout of a place in the final, because he's now on the bubble. Benos of Slovakia now joins Chalupka and Trave in the final. 7 to go. Now on course, the Olympic silver medalist from Tokyo 2020, Lucas Rohan, goes on the course. Not having had the consistency that you might have expected from him. He started off well with a bronze medal in the first World Cup of the season, but since then, not been in the final.
Has he always switched? I hadn't noticed. He's already switched 3 times in this run, so maybe it's a new development, or more likely option, I'm just crazy and didn't notice before.
Well, it's an interesting observation, isn't it? It's difficult to know, and some people switch more on different courses than others, but
yeah, like I think Denny, I think he might have switched once in his run.
So let's watch here as Lucas Rohan, a little bit tentative on 14, but this is the critical move. This is where it's make or break time, and it looks, and he's done a flyby on 16. He looked like he had it in his control, but his It's a flyby. He's not done gate 16 correctly, and Rohan is out of the final. The Olympic silver medalist will be outside the top 10. Bad news for the Czechs, but good news for the Italians, because Roberto Calazingari is into the final. The fine margins of canoe slalom. Didn't seem to have done anything wrong, but he did seem a bit tentative in that middle section.
Yeah, he's really showing his sportsmanship. I say this every time someone makes a mistake and finishes the run, but I think it's really important. And yeah, he's done a good job there.
So only 22nd place for now for the Olympic silver medalist. But as I say, Roberto Calazingari of Italy joins Mate Benos, Vaclav Chalupka and Miguel Trave in the final. 6 boats to go in this men's canoe semi-final. Now on course it is Moen Tabliki of France, 6th at the World Championships in Augsburg in July. He made the final last weekend in Pau, finished 7th. And he'll be very familiar with this course. The French do a lot of races across either side of the Pyrenees. So the French, it's a little bit of a stronghold away from home here.
Yeah, Nguyen, a very promising young paddler, had a really good season, made the final in the World Championships in Augsburg this year. Really having an incredible season.
Yeah, what I didn't say was he's the under-23 world champion, so
yeah,
that's probably his biggest achievement of the year. But you're right, the you know, making the senior world championship final was pretty significant too. Disappointing touch there on 13. He did nothing wrong on the entry, but just didn't quite hold on to the entry pole. Beautifully done, 15 and 16 though. He really had the confidence there.
Yeah, just confident ducking and diving, ducking the shoulder underneath the pole, timing it perfectly. He's got that down.
Well, he's going to be tight on 20, and he just takes the touch, closes it down. So 2 touches now, 4 seconds of penalties, and Adam Burgess of Great Britain is on the bubble now. 96.28 is his total, so that's what Moen has got to beat to take automatic qualification, and well, he hasn't negotiated that correctly yet.
No, that was risky. That was one of those moves where he knew he was in the wrong place. And
now he has, but the line to the finish is difficult. Another penalty, and sadly for the under-23 world champion, it all went wrong really from gate 20 onwards, and so out of the final. And you can see the disappointment on his face. He puts the edge down, and in that strong eddy, it's not forgiving, is it?
Yeah, I think if he had followed through with that big reverse but kept his bow flat, there's a possibility, but it was always going to be risky.
So well done, Adam Burgess now into the final. He makes it 3 finals on the trot for Great Britain. And now on course it is Paolo Ceccon for Italy, coming into the upstream gate 6. European Championship finalist earlier on in the season, the first race of the European season. That was in Liptovsky Mikuláš back in May. A lot of water has flowed under the bridge, so to speak, since then. And 1.7 down on the top section, so can't afford to let that open up anymore as he comes into the business end of the course.
Yeah, solid start to his run. He's not looking like he's pushing himself too hard. Unfortunately, for this semi-final, I think it's going to take some pushing. I don't think you can just paddle within your own abilities.
So now coming through gate 18, the second split will tell us what we need to know, and he's stabilised the deficit, 1.75. Well, actually, if he can hold on to that, he is still in touch with a place in the final.
Nice.
So it is now Ryan Wesley for Great Britain who sits on the bubble, 96.87, his time. That's the time that Paolo Ceccon of Italy will be targeting for an automatic place in the final, and it's going to be very close indeed. He comes through and he's going to be inside that, I think. It's going to be tight, and it's inside. Paolo Ceccon of Italy, well done. You're in the final.
Yeah, he's still got an asterisk next to his name, but I didn't notice anything, so.
Yeah, it's a clean run for now, but yeah, we'll keep you up to date if there's anything added on to that. So we are down to the last 4, and the last 4 includes the top 3 in the overall standings. And on course now, Nicolas Gestin of France, is on course, so he's lying third in the overall standings, has had a great season so far. But as an update, then Paolo Cecco has picked up a 2-second penalty on gate 15, so that means that it's Wesley for Great Britain who is into the final, and unfortunately now Cecco has to wait and see.
Yeah, Nicolas Justin having a good start to his run, powering through. He's looking like he's also going for a smooth. I wonder if these athletes are watching how each other are doing it, because they seem to be evolving as they go through the semi-final.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Well, we saw early on in the semi-final that Benjamin Savcek was very casually walking up and down the course. He wasn't even changed, so he was obviously just going to watch a little bit of the early runners to make his final decisions. Now Gestin picked up that penalty on gate 9. That's not going to help him, but he looks like he's still got the pace.
Yeah, still no major mistakes except for that touch on gate 9.
Wow.
Sadly, yeah, losing time on the middle section there, 5.3 down.
So he's like third in the overall standings. He's had a great season so far, second to first, then a 15th, and then a 4th last weekend. But at the moment, it looks like he could be exiting at this stage, which opens the door right up to the, well, I was going to say to the likes of Denis Gargaud-Chanou, but he's not going to be in the final. But the likes of Mate Benos, who is in the final, could take advantage of that. But wow, he's found some time. Gestin of France, the under-23 world champion of last year, keeps his cool, and he is in the final. Well done, Nicolas.
Wow, really, really strong last section there, I guess. Just took 2 seconds off from his middle split.
So it is, I have to say, Anze Berchitch as well for Slovenia joins Ryan Wesley in the final because they are tied on their time. So we are down to the last 3 from the heats. Raffaello Ivaldi now on course for Italy, 4th at the European Championships and 2 finals in the World Cup season so far, race 2 and 3. And you always expect when you see Raffaello paddle, he's super tight on the poles.
Yeah, he's also a risky paddler, but he doesn't tend to make as many mistakes as some of the others we see.
He's an under-23 World Championship silver medalist. That was back in 2018. Now he's in the big boys league in the seniors, and nearly a quarter of a second up at the top of the course, and that's over that time of Miguel Trave of Spain. So he has got the pace.
Yeah, really putting together a good run. He just has to stay focused and hold it together for the rest of this, and then he's in. Oh, no.
Well, it's only a 2-second penalty. It looks dramatic, but he's still in touch. We saw that with Gestin. You've got to keep your cool. And look, you see, 0.3.
Yeah.
He has managed to hold on to that. So it is all about this last section. The Italians already have 1 boat in the final. Can they make it 2?
Yeah, the touch on 16, although it was the touch was large, he also lost a lot of speed after the gain, so he kind of had to do a weird turn.
Well, it's going to go into the final for sure. It's just outside the race lead time, into second place, and yeah, well done. He knows it. So we have 2 Italian boats in the final. Miguel Trave leading for Spain. Raffaello Ivaldi for Italy in second, Vaclav Chalupka for the Czech Republic in third, and then also Nicolas Gestin, Mate Benos, Roberto Colazingari, Adam Burgess, Ryan Wesley and Anze Berchitch are into the final. Now 2 to go. Benjamin Savcek on course for Slovenia, the Olympic champion. And of course, he is second in the overall standings of the World Cup. So if he wants to keep his chances of taking the World Cup title this year, he's got to make it into the final.
Yeah, Benny having a bit of a tap on the rock and ended up coming off the back of the wave into the up left.
He's had a good record in the World Cup overall. First in the first race, then he was 11th, just missed the final, and then since then 2 silver medals. So 3 podium finishes from the 4 races.
Yeah, he's a nice and consistent paddler to watch, a real tactician.
So into the upstream, gate 13. He's a little bit down on the top section, but you know with him, as you say, he's just very clinical. He's got a plan, but he's late on 16, but he holds on.
Yeah, wow. That was a good save. He just slowed the boat down and just took his time, maneuvered the boat through the poles, and ended up navigating it perfectly.
So he's the Olympic champion, he's world champion, and he's also the European champion for 2022. But 2.39 now the deficit. It's not a drama, but he can't afford a touch at the bottom.
No, and he can't really afford to be too low into that up. And as I was thinking that, he kind of fell off the back of the wave as well.
So 97.68 is the time to beat. Oh, and it's all gone wrong for Benjamin Sabsek at the bottom of the course. A 50-second penalty, and he has gone from having 1 foot in the final to it all being over. So here we see it. Catches his edge. He's upside down in the gate line, and it's all gone wrong. There's Peter Kauser supporting his fellow countryman, but that's big news. The second place in the standings, Benjamin Sabsek out of the final.
Now on the course we have Luka Bozic, a really, really incredibly smooth paddler and also a tactician, but a different kind. He always thinks about the flow between the gates and keeping everything neat and tidy, where Benjamin is more about cutting lines and stuff like that.
Well, you're right. Luka Bozic now has to make it into the final, and we've just seen one of the main contenders for the overall title eliminated at this stage. And what it will mean is that Nicolas Gestin, who's already in the final for France, and Luka Bozic, assuming he makes it to the final, will be fighting it out in that final for the overall World Cup title. Bozic looking very smooth and comfortable, but still has to navigate his way through gate 15 and 16. He's at the moment had a first, a second and a second, 3 podiums, and that is his record in this competition. Now, 1.1 down on the second split. Bozic is doing what is required, but we know it's not all over. We saw that with Benjamin Sabsek, who was so close to a place in the final, and it all went wrong. So let's not count the chickens before they've hatched as he comes through the last gate. Bozic now is comfortably into the final. He has to beat 97.68. He's inside of that time, and wow, he'll be sighing in relief there. He probably doesn't know what happened to Benjamin, and well, it is his World Cup title to lose now, really. If he can finish ahead of Nicolas Gestin, then he is unbeatable.
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting final to watch. There's a lot at stake here. It's the double points and the fact that it's the last World Cup. Everybody wants it.
So that concludes this men's canoe semi-final, and it was drama right to the outset. We have lost a key contender in the World Cup overall standings, the Olympic champion, the reigning European champion, Benjamin Sabsek of Slovenia. That mistake at the bottom of the course eliminates him, but really it is all eyes now on Luka Bozic, the race leader in the overall standings, who well, has to finish ahead of Nicolas Gestin, who's also in the final, and Matej Benus of Slovakia comes right back into the mix for a place in the top 3. But it is Miguel Trave of Spain who sets the pace here in La Seu. He'll go off last in the final. Rafael Ivaldi finishes second in the semi-final, so he goes off as the penultimate boat with world champion of 2021, Vaclav Chalupka for the Czech Republic, third from last. Luka Bozic, Nicolas Gestin, Matej Benus, Roberto Colazzingari, Adam Burgess, Ryan Wesley and Anze Berchitch are the qualifiers through to the final. Well, final reflections on that semi-final?
Yeah, that was really exciting to watch. Really nothing separating these guys. Only 4.1 seconds from the very back to Miguel. This is setting up to be an excellent final.
So you can follow the final here live at Planet Canoe. We're live at 11:30 Central European time. That's just 20 minutes away. So time to put the kettle on and then come right back for the excitement as we look to crown the World Cup champions of the women's canoe and the men's canoe category. We'll also have the extreme kayak competition this afternoon 4:30 Central European time, but it is really poised for a big finale here. Here are the 10 finalists. Miguel Trave wins the semi-final, 90.77, the fastest raw time that we've seen. He'll go off last, but the big battle there, it's going to be between Luka Bozic and Nicolas Gestin in the middle of the pack there to take the overall World Cup title. Here's the people that miss out on the final, and we've got some well, big names in there as well. The Irish team doing well but not quite getting into the final. And there we have Benjamin Savcek, Denis Gargaud-Chanou, 2 Olympic champions, and they miss out. And certainly the big story there, Benjamin Savcek, he was in the mix for a top 3 finish, but he's now going to be out of that top 3. So from me, Andy Maddock and Daniel Parry, thank you for joining me in the booth. We'll say goodbye for now, and we'll see you back for the final at 11:30.